Good morning, everybody. This is a first for me. I've actually written a speech. Normally I don't do that. Normally I just riff it straight away. Also, a bit of a personal anniversary. This month, 40 years ago, I started working in video games. And I'm still working in video games, and I love it. It's my passion, and it just takes me to a higher plane of consciousness that I really enjoy. So without sounding too much like a hippie, welcome everybody to BET. It's a real privilege to be here. Our federation, the British Esports Federation, started back in 2016. We had a sort of, I think, a pretty clear vision / mission, which was to champion the growth of esports in the UK. And along the way, we started realising quite a lot of the real true power of esports and what it can do for people. Yeah. And we realised that, you know, it's not just about competition and competitive gaming, far more than that. And rightly so, otherwise it just gets terribly boring. It's a real opportunity for personal growth, helping thousands of young people sort of develop the skills they need for what is becoming and will continue to become a really dynamic, changing and at times challenging world. And if I relate that back to the journey I've had in video games and, you know, for the last 10 years in esports, we've always had challenges with platforms and technologies. As we learn something, we have to unlearn it because the world changes. And I don't think that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a thing, and it's a thing we all have to accept, unfortunately, in our lives. You know, you grow. Esports offers, from where I'm coming from, structured learning environments that can really develop transferable skills. I mean, people talk a lot about transferable skills, you know, what they can mean, but it's absolutely essential that you can socialize, you can vocalize, you can inspire, you can lead, you can follow, you can understand rules, you can understand choice, consequence, and you can develop as a person and as a part of a team and a wider society. Understand that it's not all about winning, okay? Not at all. Understand, you know, it's an old cliche. It's about taking part and having a good time and growing. The World Economic Forum, I'm probably safe saying that in a place like this. We're not anywhere near MAGA hats and stuff like that. The World Economic Forum highlights the sort of top skills required for the future job market, and it did a prediction precisely 5 years ago. Critical thinking was important, collaboration really important, digital literacy and adaptability. And esports naturally fosters all of those skills, and it's really engaging and necessary to the digital native generation. And frankly, now everybody's digital. Even my mother, who's still alive, 86, and my dad, who's still alive, just at 91. They use iPads, they use FaceTime. They know what I do for a living at last. It only took them, 38 years or something to figure that out, but there you go. My mum still says to me, "Oh, I heard you on the radio on 5 Live talking about video games. Sometimes it's about football as well." And she said, "I think I understand, Andrew," because she's the only person in the world who calls me Andrew. I think I understand what you do. But I've always gone all over the world, spreading the word about video games. Most people in this country still don't understand what a powerhouse the UK is, truly a powerhouse. So most of you may have played games. Who's played games? Put your hands up. Some people haven't. I mean, what's going on? Put your hands up if you've got kids who play games. Okay, right. Put your hands up if you can have kids who play games. There you go. So you all have all been aware of how games are sort of now culture. But I mean, do you realise, not to quote the Flaming Lips, but do you realise that Grand Theft Auto is a British developed game? It's made in Leeds and it's made in Edinburgh. Okay, it's made by thousands of people, by the way. There's also an HQ in New York. Championship Manager, is literally made just about a mile up the road at Stratford. and it's a massive game, the biggest football management game in the world. What used to be called FIFA was designed by an English guy with an English team. Okay, you couldn't really trust the Americans to design a soccer game, could you? So if you look at what we do in esports and why it's important, you look at critical thinking and problem solving. It's fast paced in esports. People have got to, players have got to analyse complex situations in real time, identify solutions really, really quickly, and then execute under pressure. And, you fail and sometimes you win. More for me, fail than win, but there you go. It's all about taking part. And that really does mirror what happens in the real world when you get out there and you do business. So I'm an investor in games. I'm a founder. I was part of the exit from ESL, the biggest esports company in the world. We sold to the Public Investment Fund of Saudi Arabia about 2 years ago, and it was sold. The company was sold for $1 billion. I mean, it's like Austin Powers, isn't it? Ridiculous, frankly. I don't know why they bought that for so much money, but hey, there you go. Then there's digital literacy. Esports, participants will become proficient with hardware, software, data analytics tools, equipping them with those transferable skills to thrive in all of the jobs, not of the future, of the now. Okay? And, there's lots and lots of talk about artificial intelligence, been around for years in games, machine learning, been around for years. Will it take jobs out? Yes, it will. Will it create other jobs? Yes, it will. Do we know what's going to happen? No, we don't. Do we know how dangerous it's going to be or how safe it will be? No. Will governments be able to regulate fast enough? Of course not. That doesn't mean they shouldn't try, and we should be aware of what we're getting into, but we should also embrace it. It really is quite simple in my view. Because if you try and hold it back and fight this stuff, it's going to run over you. So you might as well be part of the party, really, in my humble opinion. And then the sort of true magic for me happens when these skills are honed in a structured education environment, which is what you provide. We've seen remarkable growth in esports, courses across schools and colleges and universities, with curriculum-based learning and mentorship at their core. Mentorship's really, really important to me. I do a lot of mentoring. Don't know if it's any good. You'd have to ask the people who get mentored. But I particularly enjoy it because it gives me an ability to try and listen to what younger people, and not always younger people, want and what they need, and then try and figure out how to get them to figure it out for themselves, which I guess that's what you do for a living, is to unlock that potential. Everyone's got a skill, at least one. Everyone can be brilliant, just got to find it, and then they've got to discover it and push it on as well. So the gain of theoretical knowledge, practical experience is really important with industry professionals, and that also starts to push into what's important to me, which is entrepreneurship. That's not about making money. Okay, that comes if you're good at it. It's about doing stuff. It's about bringing people with you. It's about being part of a team. That's what entrepreneurship's really about. Interestingly, it's a French word, and arguably France is less good at entrepreneurship than Britain. Restaurant is also a French word, and somehow McDonald's get away with using it. I don't know how that one works out, but there you go. If we embed esports in the curriculum, we sort of move beyond those tired, lazy stereotypes that I've had to put up with all my life about gaming in the bedroom. We've created environments where young people can thrive in a professional context, and you're going to see some of those students hopefully here today. Building confidence, which is important, discipline, which is really important, and leadership. And I think now, as we move into 2025, personally, I'm quite refreshed. There's a new government, and they really focused on skills. I've heard it all before from loads of other governments, by the way, so they've still got to prove themselves. But this feels like a government with a purpose, rather than a government who doesn't believe in government. Okay, so I'm quite, sort of energized by that. I hope everyone else is too. But more than that, the landscape's shifting. The Esports Olympic Games are on the horizon, right? That's a reality. I'm not sure how much esports needs the Olympics personally, but there you go. I think the Olympics needs to gain relevance, so that's maybe why they're doing it. But also closer to home, we at British Esports are investing significantly in the Northeast. So it's not all about London for us. And we've got the National Esports Performance Centre that we're building. We've got half of it, and we're building the arena piece in Sunderland. And we're hugely excited about that. But all of this is really important. Why? Just because the future of work is changing. People ask me what work is. Why do you enjoy your work so much? Well, because it's my life. And as many people as possible can do what they love doing and earn a living out of it, so much the better, much happier society. But we're looking at the UK job market, increasingly values, rightly in my view, soft skills, digital fluency, and then adaptability. Industries like technology, creative media and management are evolving very rapidly, and everyone needs to prepare for that. Let's be clear, esports is not about correcting a next generation of pro players, though that's nice. And the UK actually under-indexes on the pro player side of things by quite a considerable distance, which is unusual for us in the field of video games, something we need to do something about. But it's really about creating the next generation of leaders, innovators and change makers. And I'd like to sort of say that esports in education is not a trend. It's not something that's going to come in for 5 minutes and then go away, in my humble opinion. I think it's a transformation, okay? It's a movement, and people need movement. You need to build that energy up. And it's got the power, to reshape how we think about skills, careers in the future. And we're really proud of British Esports to be here today. We're proud of all of you. Everyone who educates young people, needs to be properly respected, properly rewarded, and properly sort of saluted. So thank you all for what you do, because without education, okay? So together, let's empower those young people. Sorry about that, but that wasn't written down in the speech, obviously. But thank you for your time, and have a fantastic show, and big up your students.